This is 100% honest, not harsh conversation on why people get booked and why people get rebooked because it's not always the same reason,
Mm.
right? And this is being recorded, and I know it's going to be seen 100 times. So I'm just going to use examples where I can and answer questions where we can. I have somewhat of an agenda set up. I mean, usually these think tanks oftentimes will bring in a guest to speak about something where we're going to learn something from the guest, but you're going to learn it from Nancy and Barb because this is our company and this is we see it go down here. So it's honest, it's real. Stop us, ask questions. Barb, jump in. But we'll start with what's going to get you booked. So getting you booked is being on our Slack channel because that's where we go. It's so easy for us to go, here's a job, who wants it? Rather than, are you available? Are you available? Do you want this job? Like, no, we post it on Slack. You apply. The sooner we get the most qualified candidates, the sooner we can appease our client and look really good to our client. So if we don't get a lot of resumes or applications when we post it on Slack, then we'll do an email. So if we find that person on Slack, we're done. We don't care that there's a more qualified person on email. If you're qualified and you were one of the first ones in, you're getting the gig. There's a couple ways this goes down. The client will send a request for contractor for us. We copy and paste it, turn it around to an estimate to them. We're like, you just said, here's your show, the dates, the rates, the roles and responsibilities. We add a service fee on top of that. We don't touch your rates. When they go, oh yeah, we'll pay for that. Then we go, perfect. Hey team, guess what? And we post it on Slack. Here's your show, dates, rates, roles and responsibilities. You click on that apply here button, and this is where it matters. For show caller position, when we hire at Tempo, when we look back at our year, it's about 30% show callers, 30% producers, 30% maybe graphics ops, and then oh gosh, there's a lot of PAs in there too. But those are kind of like the sweet spots that we hire the most. We do brand activations, we do sponsorship, we do A1s, camera ops, A2s. Like they're in there. I could list all the different positions that we hired last year, but those are the bulk that we hired, truth be told. So when we post for a stage manager and the resumes come in like crazy, I don't have time to open up every single resume and vet you. I'm going to look at your why this job. And if you haven't applied for a job before at Tempo, when you apply, you'll see the section that says why this job. And I don't know how to say it better, but to say that, like, because the job posting said, I need someone who knows how to call an auto show because auto shows are unique. And I want you to say, I've called auto shows for Ford and Acura and X, Y, and Z, or maybe it's for pharmaceutical. I've done pharmaceuticals with galas. They said there's a gala, or they said we're working in show flow. I want you to repeat back to me in that paragraph, if it's true, how you match what they just asked for. I work in Google Docs. Whatever it is, that's the first thing that's going to catch my eye. It's not the person that says, because I've been doing it for 30 years.
Mhm.
I will scroll past you. So I'll find those paragraphs that are like, okay, 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 okay. Or I live in Boston. I can stay at my cousin's house on the couch. Like that's kind of cool too, because that's going to save my client money and they're going to be stoked that you live in Boston or you have a couch to stay on in Boston and the show's in Boston, or you know what I'm saying? Whatever makes you look the best. Then I'll open up your resume. And I'm not kidding. I need to open up your resume. So don't apply and not give me a resume. I have a really good show caller. I've worked with her for years and she didn't put her resume. She's in Vegas and they wanted to see resumes. It's not me, it's my client. I know she's great. I've worked with her. She's overqualified. She didn't have a resume. And the client's like, I want to see resumes. And I was like, girlfriend, get me a resume. I don't have one. I don't need one anymore. I'm like, well, go make one. Like we've done shows on how to make resumes. I mean, I truly just need to see the type of shows you work for, and you can put the client, you could put the client's name or not, pharmaceutical, or just I worked for Acura, I worked for Genentech, and you don't have to put the client's name by it because I know that some of that's NDA, right? So you can still show me in a two-columned row the shows, the years, and the type of shows or whatever, right? I need to give them something. It's not me, it's the client that needs to see the resume. If you send me a resume that talks about all your producing work that you've done, I can't send that. I I don't I want a show caller resume because they asked for a show caller. And you guys don't understand how often this happens to me. every day. Every time we post a job, I get someone who just is bragging about their show calling skills. So take an hour out of your day. If you're a deck manager, make a deck manager resume or make a deck manager and show caller resume together because those are amazing. I love that because then I can go, oh, they know how to run a deck and call a show. The clients can be like, oh, they can do both jobs. That is a huge skill set, right? They understand you know what your deck manager needs when you're going to be calling that show. And you can put your producing stuff on that too. That's fine because then I'm like, oh, they get the big picture as a producer. That's also good. But just make sure that resume is referring to the job that you're applying for. That's how you get a job from Tempo. Ta-da.
What's so hard about
What's
it?
so hard about it? That's a family line, you guys.
That's
So
a
just
family line, though.
bear with
That's
us.
like, yeah. What's so hard about it? We all say it in our
It
family.
comes from a water skiing incident back when I
Back
was
in
in
the
high school.
70s.
Wasn't in high school in the 70s. Watch your mouth.
Whatever.
Um, so that's the gist right there. Now, if they're offering $900 a day and you want $950 a day, does it really matter on a 4-day show? Because then I got to go back to the client and change that, or can you suck it up? I just got you a job for $900 a day, which is sometimes a little low for show callers. I get it, but keep in mind we are a third party, so they have to up their rate to the client, then we up the fee. So there's a lot of fees involved. So the person who gets bit by it is you. And I'll have some people that will try to negotiate a $50 pay raise. And I'm like, I can, but sometimes I don't have the time. The show's coming up. And does $200 really make a big difference at the end of the day? It's a 4-day show. And I don't mean to be rude. I'm a freelancer too, but understand, I know your rates are higher. Sometimes we get your full rate.
Oh,
Sometimes I'm
yeah.
a little off.
More times than not, we get the full rate.
More times than not, I get the full rate. I've been in the industry long enough. I see the budgets. I know what the full rate is. And I'll always fight for your full rates. If a client comes at me with a $700 rate for a show caller, I'll say, no, I can't. Um, so keep that in mind that we're third party. And so it's costing the client extra to hire us. So I got to pay our fee on top. You know what I mean? So if it's a $900 rate, our fee's 25%, they're actually paying the going rate for a show caller, in my opinion, is like 1,000 to 1,200. Some show callers get more depending on the show, get a lot more of that, but on average. How are we doing? Does that make sense?
Right,
Yep.
yes.
Okay. Any questions? Trying to think of it if I missed anything. Go ahead, Don Marie. Go.
Hi. Um, do you have a resource or reference for a sample of a resume for, that's specific to a certain job or certain jobs? Just because I'm thinking of coming from two completely different worlds, how to transition or how to make a different resume that fits just strictly, the event world as opposed to the academic world or something like that.
Yes, I'm looking
Let
for
me
my
look through
note.
my pile.
Yeah, we get resumes. We have so many resumes, girl.
Yeah.
We can
Let me go.
film some redacted resumes.
Yep.
We'll have to do that. We'll have Barb send you some redacted resumes.
Okay, thank
What I
you.
did, Donna Marie, is when I realized my resume was mostly fitness operations related, I had to build up my show experience. And I'd already had a lot of show experience prior to my working with Nancy like this. So I added all of that in there. And then I actually Nancy saw my resume. She's like, yeah, that's a good resume. I'm like, I copied someone's resume. I saw how someone did it. I'm like, that's brilliant. So
Yeah.
I just used her template and I created my own resume using a template I really liked because it made sense to me. So I'll find some of those for you, Donna Marie. And it may,
Thank you.
And
Thank
and you know
you.
what, friends, I am not looking for the most beautiful business resume. I give a crap the formatting, honestly. I
yeah.
want to see the shows you've worked, the type of shows you've worked, the experience that you have. I don't need a lot of fluff. I had this one person send me a resume and they were talking about how they help clients understand technology and the lingo and technology. I couldn't understand a flipping word of that resume. It was so ironic. I was reading this. I don't know if I read it to you, Barbara. I was like,
You did.
I don't know what this person does. It was so much fluff. I'm
Yeah.
a show caller. I
And it
love
should only be
calling
one
shows.
sheet, by the way. It should only be one sheet. It shouldn't be two.
Yeah. So, Donna Marie,
So
just
Donna Marie wants one. Maddie, did you want one too? I'll find some.
okay. And then Victoria had a question.
Just add me to the list. Send them.
Oh,
Maybe just put them in the Slack.
Yeah,
Honestly, I
or
think a lot of people
I
would
or
be in
did
the
also
Tempo
help.
Think Tank channel.
yeah, I was
I'll
gonna
put a
say,
link
yeah,
down.
it'd be lovely to have like an archive channel for documents of something of things like that, like sample resumes, because I would also
Yeah.
mine needs some love in a big way.
Yeah.
I don't know if we have a resume channel, but a think tank channel. And the thing about our Slack channel is it does, it's only good. It doesn't archive things forever
Hmm.
because we
Like
way too
30 days.
expensive. So it goes away after a few weeks. But I don't want to put it on the general channel and interrupt everything, but there is a think tank channel. And if you go into Slack settings, make sure you click on, when you jumped into Slack, you click on the channels you want to follow or chat GPT it and find a way to get onto the Tempo Think Tank channel, which is Slack. There's a deck management channel, a stage management channel. There's all these channels you may not even know exist.
Can I drop it right in the chatter here now?
Yeah, if you have some.
No, no, no. I mean, I think the channel.
Oh, I don't know how to do that.
I don't know. I'm gonna figure it out right now.
Yeah. Um, yeah, you'd have to, you can invite to the channel. I have to just Google it or chat GPT. I don't Google anything anymore. When are we going to start saying chat GPT it?
Never. We're
What else did I
still
have in my
tweeting,
note?
Nancy. We're still tweeting.
What's that? I'm still tweeting.
We're still tweeting. We don't.
Yeah, I know. Um, yeah, my notes say, no fluff, specific experience. One thing, Barb, that you have said before, don't need to name drop with us.
Yeah,
So
I
tell
just
it.
did that yesterday in I always do that in our new hire, the new member meetup. I just talked about that yesterday. Like sometimes people apply for jobs and they name drop, and I always laugh because y'all work with someone cool. So like in this industry, name dropping, it's like,
It
and
was like I worked with Hillary Clinton and Michelle Obama, and they were like talking, which is great if you're applying for a gig that you know the Secret Service and there's high political figures, that's
yes.
important to us.
Yep.
If you're just applying for the next pharma gig down the street or tech conference, you don't need to fluff it up with all the celebrities you work for because we all work for celebrities. But if it's something like Secret Service related, yeah, I've worked with Secret Service. We've had those shows posted before. Like, does anybody have experience working with, you know, high profile political people, whatever?
How about name dropping people in the industry like Miles Capper?
Oh, name drop all you want for Miles Capper, for
Sure.
sure.
Yep.
Name drop to me, like I always say, I cannot hire you unless I know you or I know somebody that knows you. And if neither are true, I'll dig deeper. So that's a really good point, actually. When you guys apply for a job, if I don't know you, no matter what, you're getting a call from me if you're making the cut for the next round. I will give you a call and be like, all right, Kate, I saw you applied. I think we met at a new member meetup, but can you, and because I take notes in your file, the new member meetups, can you tell me more about your sweet spot? Here's the deal, Audrey. There are 3 screens, and you said you only called 2 screens, but let me tell you the difference, what it is, what it's not, right? And I will never set you up to fail because if you don't look good, I don't look good. So I will always call you, all of y'all here except for Sal, because I work with Sal a lot. And Kate, who's done shows for Tempo here? Kate, you have, right?
Yeah, a couple, several at this point.
I
Yeah.
thought so. Yeah. So I'll open up your file in Airtable and be like, oh my gosh, yeah, Kate's done this, and I know I've known Sal forever and I know Sal's done a ton of jobs. So then your resume will move on to the next round. But if I don't know you, I will call you. I call everybody and be like, okay, Michelle, this is the scoop. And I have my own little test, my own little pop quizzes I give you. You probably got a pop quiz from me, Kate. Pretty sure you did. You get a pop quiz from me. So I know you know what you're talking about. Okay. I think that's it on getting through to the next round. All right.
Hey, Nat,
Um,
can I ask a question real quick?
yeah.
I know on resumes, normally you don't really go after reference since they're looking at reference either. You're not calling them up to find out, especially with a new client, say a new person coming in.
Not always, but if you said Miles Cappers or referenced, I'll be like, Miles, Michelle said she knows you. What do you know about Michelle? That's how this conversation started, right? Yeah. Name drop people in our industry for sure. For a reference, you got nothing to lose. Takes a couple of seconds to write it down. And I know if you came from Matt Stern and his event management academy, I know you've had some schooling. I know if you've run the deck for Sal before. I've been a deck manager for Sal. I'll call Sal. Like, Sal, how'd Michelle do? She a good deck manager? So I do like that, actually. I do like references, especially in our industry. You got nothing to lose by doing that. And I might even ask you if I call you. Like, who can I talk to that's, show called when you ran the deck, or who you've produced for that might be in tempo. Okay. What gets you rebooked? Sal, Kate, what gets you rebooked?
For me, especially when I work with a client for the first time, it's just getting it right away. It's first impressions, coming in prepared, being ready to take on whatever comes on. I've been doing it for a while, so there's not a lot of new things that have come up, but I can revert back to, okay, this was happening a year ago. It's happening again this year, whether it be a new client or another, and then how to react to that. But basically, making them feel your worth, I mean, on what you bring to the table. And that's, and especially for a first time, you don't know what you're walking into, especially a show caller, you don't know what kind of engineers you're going to have, and your graphics operator, all the operators, you know what they are, especially if they're new, if you haven't seen them before. I love it when there's one person that I know on a gig that I've worked with before, because especially engineering side, when they, whoever it is, a video, an E2 operator, any of the operators, because then they said, oh, Sal's here, thank God, and everybody relaxes. All the engineers know, hey, this is good. It's not just about the client, but it's also about those people working behind the curtain, So I think, and that has got me, directly reboot from some, I call them now legacy clients that I worked with for a long time. And every time I go into a new situation, again, if I know somebody that's brand new, or someone that's there that knows me, they usually kind of settle everybody down and they go, oh, he's here, no worries. You got no worries. You'll know what the show's all about, you know. So
Nice.
That's huge.
really, I think that's how I get rebooked, and word of mouth too. I don't really go out there and and push myself or anything. It's just word of mouth. And people like, have you used Sal before? No, okay, this guy's, all that. So I think that's how you do just your first impression right away, especially if it's a new client.
Yeah. And the from the wise words of Dale Spooner, Barb and I are both Spooners. If you're not 5 minutes early, you're late. But in show business, if you're not at least 15 minutes early to your call, you're kind of late. Like, stay ahead of the ball, right? Just, I like to get to the ballroom 30 minutes if I'm calling a show, 30 minutes running the deck, because I want to just, especially on a show day, I want to make sure all the gremlins are gone. Even before the show gets there, it's a good time. It's that quiet time for you, if your deck manager, to walk the deck, look for carpet. I don't know. You know what I mean? Just be there and be calm and be ready, be ahead of the ball. My dad also taught us, especially if you're in like a production role, production assistant role, this is really important for the PAs or people new to our industry that are showing up. Look around the room and see what needs to be done and then do it. It's a trash can full. I am not joking, team. Ask, where can I empty the trash? It is Laura Zingle, who's a Tempo teammate, who Sal, you know Laura by now, right? Yeah. I think I've had you guys on shows together. She was a student at UCSD, and I went to their class and spoke about stage management. And she said, can I take you to coffee? Can we meet up? I was like, absolutely. Like, she was so proactive with me, and she and I went to coffee, and she asked me a bunch more questions. This was probably, gosh, 15, 20 years ago. And I took her on show site as a PA, and she was Dale Spooner's daughter. She was taping down cords, like computer cords, in the production office. Like, she just saw things. She was emptying the trash. She wasn't on her phone. She was always like, oh, can I help with that? Do you need anything? Can I make like, she just, you know what I mean? Just be there, be proactive, stay off your phone, stay off your phone, stay off your phone, stay off your phone. Calling a show, stay off your phone. We just had a client tell us that our show caller was on his phone playing solitaire a lot.
We also, in that same thing about stay off your phone, not only had that experience, but if I ever get feedback about a PA or a production coordinator, a younger one, the feedback I always get is they're really good, but they were on their phone quite a bit. And I know that's a generational thing. That's more like a millennial or Gen Z thing. I mean, we all do it too, but
Guilty.
it's especially like I hear that feedback. They were great, but it's always about the gosh darn phones.
Yeah.
Yeah, I basically fired an A1 because he was on his phone and missed a couple of cues,
Yeah,
and right next to me. And I looked at him a couple of times, said, "Can you stay off your phone?" And he just
they
didn't pay
can't.
attention.
It's
You
addicting.
Correct.
just can't do it. There's
I
no
know.
way. I mean, there's no way.
And I'm the first one to admit I have been stuck on that phone and not paying attention. And now I'm just trained not to like try not to get on your phone.
Yeah, and to your point, Nancy, I'm always there half an hour before and always leave a half an hour. So it's first in, last out. That's the way that I work. And they're wondering, well, you're here. Well, I'm just taking notes from if it's rehearsals. I'm there. I'm taking the notes, finishing up, making sure everything's cleaned up and everything's gone, and
Yeah.
getting ready for the next day. So that's basically my MO. I get there early and I leave after everybody's pretty much gone.
Yeah.
I do the same. I try to get there early. I stay to the bitter end, even if it's even, I'm not necessarily billing for that, but
That's what I was
I
gonna
want to be there for my own information. I'm going to stay until the last person's out of the hall. I will go chase down speaker offline speaker rehearsals, whatever I can. I'm also trying to make it very clear to clients that I'm 100% available prior to showing up on show site. The more information I go in with, the better caller I am.
Yeah.
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 But like you, Sal, it's just, yeah, one of the things I'm very fortunate is I'm a very quick learner. I can sort of walk in and I can just take that, just learning how to take that vast amount of information and go, okay, that's a show.
Yeah. And you guys make a really good point, being early, staying late, but don't nickel and dime your client for that.
No,
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 Never.
that's
totally.
me. That's me. Just like
Never.
a lot of the pre-pro work I do is for me. And
Right.
it's just my system and it's what
Mhm.
makes me comfortable and makes me a better show caller. But it's not fair to ask a client to pay for all
Same,
of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
same.
And I get it. I'm not talking about human rights, but I appreciate the people that are like, but I stayed, but I worked. Like if you were working because they screwed up rehearsal, they didn't give you rehearsal. Like I get that, but I tell my client, hey, look, I got to still write a lot of cues. There's probably going to be another hour of overtime. I always get it cleared.
Yes.
If I'm staying there for my own good, because I want to, because it's peaceful here or whatever, like I let them know too. Like I'm here, but don't worry, this is on me. Like never stay late and then bill later. You have to get that approved. That will get you not booked again if you are charging overtime that was never pre-approved. So if,
Yeah.
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
Yeah.
always,
I was gonna say the same thing, is know where that line is and just address it the way that you would expect somebody to address you if you were the one in charge of the budget. I mean, at the end of the day, somebody's got to pay the tab, and if it's work that's pertinent to the success of the show because of the cadence of the day or
right.
whatever, there's a line, but then it's, I want to do one whole run through in my head, dot I's, cross T's, and then I'll sleep. And it's better done right here. Just communicate it, as long as they know, there's no question. And I've always told people I will apologize or tell you you're welcome for being a perpetual over communicator for those reasons.
Hey, great.
Yeah. I think expectations are just, as long as everybody knows what to expect when it comes to that overtime billing, just communicate so expectations are out there and everyone's understands them. And that also comes down to don't take the Uber Black car or the VIP car service and then bill it, please. And it happens, you guys. It's embarrassing when it happens for us because they're like, why did we? I'm like, oh my God. Just be respectful of your client's budget. If and I'm speaking on behalf of Tempo, whatever you do on your own, do you, boo. But when you're working for our company, we expect courtesy. If you're in Manhattan and it's a $2 cab ride, okay, $10 cab ride, please don't take an Uber Black and charge the client $30 because everyone else on the crew is going from the same place, but all of a sudden your Uber receipts are way more than your
Yeah.
teammates. Like that says a lot. And that comes to mind, trust me, when I am looking through resumes that come in, there are notes in your file that's like, this one was a little hard on me because it was embarrassing when the client was like, hey, why? It's just kind of common sense stuff. That's how I look at it too. Like, and I will not stress enough how I care about you and I care about your rate and I care about you're not being taken advantage of, but it's got to go both ways for our client too.
I have just a funny story, just really quickly, speaking to that because I have a client that I work with pretty regularly, and I'm always, I'm a downtown New York girl. In Miami I drive, but in New York I'm on the subway. I walk, like I know how to get around inexpensively. And so we were on a job together, and we all went to dinner afterwards, and after dinner everyone was calling their cars. So he called a car for he and his wife, and of course they get the big, beautiful, Uber Black. And so I call my car, and I get like a regular Uber because it was too far. I couldn't like take the train or anything. So I get like a regular little, a little Prius or something. I don't know, comes to pull up. And so my client goes, "What is that?" And I said, "That's my car." And he goes, "Oh no, DM." And everybody calls me DM. "Oh no, DM. No, 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 no. When we're doing dinner like this with clients, you take an Uber Black." And I was like,
Nice.
"Really?"
Awesome.
And he was like, "Yes." He goes, "From now, please, if we're out with clients for dinner, please take an Uber Black." And I was like,
Love
"Okay, great, thank you." But I was like, I'm thinking to myself, I'm trying to
Good for
be
you.
respectful,
Yeah, that's
And
a
that
good
got
I
to
just
your
point.
own
start,
points
it was
too.
just weird. And he's like, "What is that?" And I was
That's
like, "Oh,
funny.
what? What did I
Yeah.
do?"
Nancy, can we talk too about faux pas? I don't know what your agenda is next, but
But
faux pas people make when they travel too sometimes, and besides taking what kind of cars you take to and from the airport or whatever you do. But I think it's critical that when you are picked up for a show and they're flying you in and you have a 5 day long show and they're flying you out, those 5 days, I think it's critical that you are going to that town, to that city, and your job is to work for that company, not to sightsee prior. I think what happens sometimes, and listen, when I work for Beachbody, I would stay longer always so I can catch another day in the city. But if you're flying in on a Sunday to work on a Sunday evening or a Monday, have that day just be the day you get acclimated to the city or to the convention center, it's wherever you're doing. But we did have an incident where someone did see some sightseeing. It was in a car accident, and prior to the show starting. And I think it's really important that these clients are flying you in, you're theirs. Um, when the show's over, that's when you can stay
go
later.
snow skiing.
Yeah, stay later, whatever you want to do. That's what you do. Like I'm flying to Nashville for a job. I didn't want to stay the extra night, but I have a late flight out, so that whole day I can spend in Nashville doing what I want to do. But I think
Good point.
it was the first time I've ever had that happen.
You know,
And then I started thinking when I was talking to that gentleman this weekend, we got that quick gig for him, and he made the comment that he worries when people don't stay in hotels that they'll get in an accident to and from. Like when you spend so much money on these shows, our clients, let's be as careful as we can with everything we do because it's a huge expensive show. When if the producer gets in a car accident or whatever, it wrecks the whole show. And that's the
yeah,
first time I experienced it. Like, whoa, that's bad.
it was, yeah, and it's the first time it's ever happened
Yep.
to any tempo contract. And it was
Yeah.
really sad, but it did change my way of thinking too. Like,
Yeah.
we are theirs on that
Yep.
Sunday. You're getting a travel day. Like, just
They're paying for you. So
Yeah,
go.
don't go snow skiing. Don't go
even
snow
if there's
skiing.
no rehearsals or
Exactly.
work scheduled, I arrive and I always go check in at the office to make sure because things
Yeah.
happen. Yeah, yeah.
I
You know, I
think
had
that's
I just finished. I was just on a gig where I had all the shows were in the morning, so I had all of my afternoons and evenings free. It was a real soft gig, but I was terrified
yep.
to leave the property.
I never would have thought of that until now. But now I'm like, nope,
Well,
I'm
I
not.
was
I'll
terrified
go.
to be out of to be more than half an hour away from the ballroom.
Yeah.
Well,
I
and then Barb, another etiquette thing I've kept in mind, and maybe this is because a large chunk of my career has been in and out of home airport. Like my first home airport was Grand Rapids, Michigan. So it wasn't until 12 years into my freelance career where I finally was coming in and out of Memphis and Orlando. So I was flying through all these big airports. I bring it up because I had to have a plan to make sure that weather would not get in the way of
Yes.
me making it there.
Mhm.
So I always flew out of Grand Rapids and made sure my layover was over an hour and it was in an airport that could de-ice faster than most so I wouldn't get delayed.
Yep.
So I had this science behind how to fly. And I hate to say this because I used to be one of them, and now I'm the one that's going to say these kids, but I mean it. Like somewhere etiquette lost its weight in
Mhm.
how to grow up in this industry, and it's like they've got the whole day off. They just have to get to the city. Well, not really, because your day, it's a full day rate for a reason. That means that don't get on the last flight out of your city. Get on one with an insurance policy. If the weather's bad, fly earlier. Like you got to kind of do your own, you got to do your own policing a little bit. And I think some of that self-policing has gone to the wayside. And maybe it's just because all of this is so instant gratification, easier with cell phones and everything, but it is something to keep in mind.
Really good point.
Yeah. All right. Anything else come up? I mean, the simple things. My dad, our dad, he built Highline Tower before I was born. So he was like kind of like what we do. He's freelance. He would do, build like the train, like the railroad. Like they go Highline Tower to here to there, and then the job would end, and you have to scramble and find his next job. And I remember one time I was talking to him, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm meeting the team at the bar," and he goes, "That's a really good idea. That's where your next job comes from." And I've said this before, it's about networking too. Like, even if you don't drink, it's not a bad idea if you have the energy, which I feel like I don't have anymore and I don't really need it anymore, right? Because I've been doing this for so long. But to build bonds with your teammates, if you can, sit with them at lunch, get to know them. It's common sense, but some people it isn't. But if you get to know your teammate, you really get to know your show caller and you're a deck manager, they're going to ask for you on the next gig. If you get to know that producer and their kids and their family, I mean, it's a good sales technique, right? Is get to know the people that you work with. That is huge. It's tiny, it's huge, but hang out with them at lunch. Don't be on your phone or, that's just a little side note. That has nothing to do with me hiring you, but that's about them calling me and going, "Hey, can I have Tyne back again, girl?"
Mhm.
There's a handful of tempo contractors that are on rotation. Clients just keep asking for them over and over. And I know it's because their personality, they're outgoing, they're meeting the crew, they're not being petty with dollars and cars. And yeah, just I keep saying, I know I do want what's best for you, and I do want you to be taken care of, but just there's got to be a balance of give and take from what you're requesting from the clients in terms of how picky you are with your pay and your room and I mean, I'm picky about my room too, but I don't have it in my rider. I've stayed in some pretty crappy hotels.
Almost like saying be wise about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just be wise. Be wise about the choices you make because it does if it's a pain if you're a pain in the butt to them, and we've had that
Can I
happen
talk
too.
to you, Nancy, about dietary restrictions? So sometimes, if you have dietary restrictions, they'll do their best. Like if you're gonna like, we do some big shows and we'll eat. They cater the shows for the attendees and for the crew. If you have a lot of dietary restrictions, what they have is what they have, and I've seen where people get very picky because of their personal diet. And I'm pretty picky too about certain things that I need to have, and I just pack them. I just pack
Pack
protein.
'em.
I'm a protein packer because they never have enough protein for me. They never have what I need to be like healthy and sharp all day. Love the lunches, but I always have my own stuff as well. So I
Very
think
smart.
too, some people get in trouble when they're very picky. I know it sounds crazy about dietary restrictions and what they need. Like if your diet's that, like I'm not that picky, but I know what I need, and I need protein,
I
and a lot
could
of times I don't have it.
Yeah. And I can think of two of our vegan contractors at Tempo that are rebooked nonstop.
Yep.
And guess what? They pack a lunch. And
That's
they're
Yeah.
traveling from different cities all over, and they always have what they need. It's when you start complaining to the client's like, "This one was hard. This one was
yeah.
really hard on me,
If they ever
Nancy."
say she was hard, like she was great, but she's just kind of hard. Like that's the worst.
I
Yeah.
was I had several technicians that I was on a circuit with for a while as their TD. And a couple of them said, I don't mean to be a pest, but I have a lot of food restrictions. And I said, well, why can't I said, how about this? What would meeting them in the middle look like? And they go, well, what do you mean? I said, they're going to make an effort if you tell them that you have these restrictions, but come their way some. Like they're doing what they can. What can you do to remedy the situation? Like they can't do 100%. You're one of many. And the younger techs looked at me and went, well, I guess I never thought about it that way. I said, yes, just like anything else, just come their way a little bit. What can you do to contribute to making sure you're eating right?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
I
that's what
teach people to go and empty their suitcases and then get a taxi to Kroger if they have to. Like, take your suitcase, empty it out on the bed. See you later. 30 minutes later, you got groceries in the room.
Mhm.
Yeah, good point. That's good. All right. Um, Anybody else have any questions? I think we pretty much covered. I'm going through different scenarios in my head of when the clients are like, "Hey, yeah," or "Hey, yeah," you
Right.
know. Um,
So Nancy, what do you think about this? I mean, after a show, usually when there were clients, they do ask if you got want to come down for, a chat or drink and stuff. They invite you to come out, and for me, I mean, I'm not a big drinker, but I do like to network. So I do go out and have my soda or whatever it is. But for anyone that's new, I mean, I've got these legacy clients, so I've been doing this with them. They ask me out and I go out with them and stuff. Anybody new, what do you recommend they do if they get approached that way?
the end client, like IBM or production company.
Yeah, yeah, the end client. I
The
work
end
for
client,
Astor.
you go through your client and be
Yeah,
like, production
right,
company, IBM just asked if I could join them for dinner. How do
right.
you feel? Because that's tempo that you do you as long as your client knows you're doing it, right? And I had somebody get approached for a job. They were working with Amazon with AWS from they were hired by Tempo with the production company with AWS. AWS wanted that kid. And he's like, Nance, what do I do? I was like, that's amazing. Go talk to a production company because they're the ones that hired you and you can really burn a bridge if you do that. So, and they let him go and then he worked for AWS and he hated it and he came back to freelance. But yeah, that's actually a really good question. Like just make sure the production company is your client when you're on show site. And then, we come in after that, but just report to your client. Um, but that reminded me of something else. Oh, this is huge for tempo if you want to get rebooked again. If the production company is like, Sal, you were amazing. Can you work with us next week? We got another show. Please honor this relationship and be like, absolutely, let's get Nancy and Barb in the line. Hey, and just copy us on the email. Hey, producer. Hey, Nancy, Barb, the producer's here and they want me to work on a show next week. Let's get the paperwork going. We're always going to say, heck yeah. But when we find out, which will happen, and it happens because our industry is so small, and sometimes it's not on purpose, you just didn't know. I always like to give you the benefit of the doubt that you took a show with our client because we introduced you to them, and then you go off and start doing shows that you don't get rebooked by Tempo. There's not get rebooked by Tempo because that has happened. Um, when I can tell it wasn't on the up and up. So just always keep us in the loop. And if you worked for George P. Johnson before, I totally get it too. And you just have to be like, Nance, my old show's coming back. I've done this pharmaceutical at George P. Johnson for years. I want you to know I'm doing it. Just keep us in the loop that, this is already your account because we all have the same clients, right? And I I got her a show with this one pharma gig with this production company. And then um, she'd already had her own. And I'm like, that's cool. Like she did her own. And then she started doing this one without me. And I was like, but this is much because I work for the production company all the time. I'm like, yeah, but this was the account you got through Tempo. Just honored this one. She's like, no, I make more money when I don't go through you. And I'm like, well, I got you the gig. So be wary of that. And just I'm an open book and I would rather given, and my sister can attest to it, I have given more people jobs that we get nothing for because I'm like, I'm not stopping you from working. Go. I gave you that account. Just remember where it came from and let's do it again. We'll figure it out or we just do it. And those people are still in good standing with me because we talked about it. And it was a situation where I had to let them go for whatever reason and keep going with our client. It will happen. I never ever want to stop you from working. And that's what I told the client. I'm like, I'm not going to stop this guy from working. If you think it's okay to take them from me, then take them because I'm not going to stop him. And it happened. And he took them. And, it wasn't the contractor's fault. It was the client's fault. And I don't work for that client anymore. All right.
I also always write thank you notes.
Oh, I like that, Kate.
Yeah.
And yeah, thank you notes. And you know what will really get you rebooked too is if you can give an after action report to
Yes.
us for them. Keep us in the loop. Like, hey, client, this was a great show. Next year, remember, let's steam the flags before Tuesday's rehearsal, or let's do this. Like, what worked well, what didn't work. That is humongous because Barb always asks them what worked well, what didn't, and they'll give us a report on you. And we want you to give a report for them. And then we also want you to give us a report to us. Like, this client's a jerk and they treated us very disrespectfully and they didn't honor any of my vegan requests. No, not that. But if you can give us reports on our
Mhm.
clients, especially new ones, I'll always ask that of you too. Like, hey, Beth,
Yeah.
tell me if they don't treat you well. I need to know because I don't want my team working for clients that don't treat us well. But thank you notes, after action reports, humongous.
Yeah, I do that. I actually send the producer a copy of my show flow, um, where I take show timings and make live time notes.
That's
Uh, yeah, so that when you're planning a show next year, you know that, you know, and if something went wrong or something went right, you
yeah,
know,
yeah,
I'm taking responsibility. I'm explaining it so you don't have to go back and recreate things. And
totally.
then and of course, obviously, I have that too. So when I go into the show next year, I go, oh right, Joe
Yeah,
Bob. He was the one who, kept leaping off the stage when he told me he was going to be nailed behind the podium,
yeah, yeah. And coming to, and I know we're at time, so we got to wrap this up. But if you're booked on a tempo gig, you sign a contract, and then all of a sudden a bigger show comes in, and it's for 10 days of work, and I only had 4 days for you, team, I am all about making sure, again, you get the work that's more valuable to you, but don't just tell me Nancy can't do it. If you wouldn't mind and be like, I can't do it, but Michelle said she's available. Like, if you could help me tell the client, hey, Kate's not available, but Michelle's done this for years. She's got it. I'd love for you to meet Michelle too. Like, I'm going to support you. But if you do it a lot, I'm not going to support you anymore. I have one contractor who did it way too many times. Like, always something bigger came. But if it happens every now and then, it's happening right now with one of our PAs with an opportunity I do not want her to miss. And I was like, just let me know how it goes, and we will give me time to, replace you or help me replace you. Um, so yeah, there's that.
Yeah.
Okay. Phew. That's 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock in California. I gotta let you guys go.
This is fun. It's good to see you
Wonderful.
again,
Good
Marie.
discussion.
Yeah. Oh, also one thing that does help too, tempo, follow us on LinkedIn, comment on LinkedIn, share our posts on LinkedIn. It's come down to that one time we do two contractors. I was like, this one is so supportive of tempo, constantly sharing our love, constantly bringing like contractors, constantly bringing clients, a very active person. I gave that person the gig because in the end, I was like, this person is contributing so much to our business. I'm going to contribute to their business. This person I don't really know yet, same qualifications. I went this way. So it does matter. These relationships matter. Showing up at think tanks, showing up at new member meetups, being active on social media to support our company helps because it helps us get more clients.
Definitely.
Hey, Nancy, on that note, did David Meek ever come to you? I mean, I keep sending them your way.